Hey guys, Aiden here, and I'm here to talk to you today about taking apart a 1911. Today we're using a Springfield MC Operator. Now this MC Operator here has a traditional plunger, it has a short guide rod, and full-length guide rod spring sitting in here. So today this is what we're going to be working on, taking it apart and putting it right back together. Hope you enjoy. So the first thing I do before taking apart any firearm, of course, is making sure that it's unloaded. We've already taken the liberty of taking out the magazine of every firearm that we're dealing with today, but the next step that we're going to do is actually pull back on the slide, look inside the barrel and the magazine well, and see that we do not have a single round sitting in any part of this gun. Once I've checked to make sure it is unloaded, I take the slide and close that down again, and I actually put on the safety to help me take apart the gun. The reason why I put the safety on is I don't really want the slide moving around too much while I'm dealing with the plunger in the front, so having it locked back allows me to just deal with pushing the plunger itself and not dealing with the slide moving. So the first step that I'm doing actually right now, and you can see this here, is I'm pushing down on the plunger so I can actually move the bushing in the front off to the side so the plunger can come out the front of the gun here. So I'm pushing down all the way, releasing. What I like to do, it's a little hard to see right here, but there is a lip that goes around the plunger right here. And I like to lock in the bushing onto the lip so that the plunger doesn't go flying on its own because the spring tension in here is really high. So once I have a good footing on the plunger itself, I can then release the bushing and slowly bring up the plunger just like so. And here you can see where the spring is underneath. I remove the plunger to get that out of the way, and now we're set and we don't have any spring tension anymore on the slide itself. You can see it moves very freely, right? So now my next step is getting the slide off completely. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to line up the top of the slide lock, slide release safety lever with this shape, this little cutout right here. Now notice it's behind where the slide lock, slide release lever is actually going to go normally when you're dealing with the firearm there. So I'm actually going to pull back for that opening just like so, right here in place. Now you notice, like I said, the top of the slide lock, slide release lever is lined up with that little cutout right there. Now on the other side right here, you have your plunger. What I'm actually doing right here is I'm pushing down on the plunger like so, and I'm going to take this, and that's actually going to be pushing through just like that to the other side. That comes out on this end right here. That sits here, comes right out just like so. Once that is removed, I then can take the slide and push it all the way forward and release it from the frame here. The frame's going to be set down right here. So from this point right here, I'm taking my guide rod and guide rod spring setup out the back end of the slide. And I'm actually going to remove my bushing. My bushing goes all the way to the other side here, just like so. And I'm going to push it out and forward, just like this, and remove that from the barrel. Once that part is done, I'm going to knock down that little guy right there. Then I'm going to push the barrel right out through the front end of the slide. And now I have my empty slide. Okay guys, well you guessed it, it's time to put the 1911 back together. We start doing that by putting the barrel right through the front end of the slide, just like so, and that's going to go back until it actually locks back into place right in the center there, okay? We always want to have this up just like so, so that stays out of the way. It's time to put the bushing back on, so it starts off on that same direction, going 45 degrees right there. That goes right inside, and we're going to rotate that back on over to the other side to where it's at 90-degree mark right there. Once that bushing is in, we're taking our guide rod spring and putting that back through the back end of that opening, and that's going to sit nice and flush with the bottom of the barrel. We always want to make sure this part right here is sitting straight up because this is how we connect the barrel, the slide, and the frame all together once we're done, okay? I then like to grab the spring and the guide rod, flip the slide over to an upright position, and I'm taking my frame and I'm placing the slide right back on the frame, but I want you to really focus on this part right here. This is where it gets really important because what I am trying to do at this point is line up those holes all together to make one solid opening, just like so. So I can then take my slide lock, slide release lever and actually place that back through the opening that it was originally in. Once that part is done, I'm pulling back to where we found that rainbow shape earlier, that cutout that was on the slide there. And I'm going to reposition my slide lock, slide release lever to right on the frame there to where I'm going to be putting it back. Now, it's kind of hard to see from there, but there actually is a little plunger that sits right here, and that right there gives the pressure for that slide lock, slide release lever to stay in place. What we always want to do is we want to have minimal resistance when putting this back together here. So what I like to do is I like to use a little tool. You can use a punch or some sort of, you can use a flathead screwdriver, whatever it may be, but I like to push that plunger in just a little bit to give less resistance as I push and place that slide lock, slide release lever right back into place. Once that is done, that slide goes all the way forward. I put that safety right back on, so I have that slide lock into place. Have the 1911 face upward as the plunger goes right back on to the spring set here. As I'm pulling down, I'm finding that lip again, and that's going to lock it into place so I can readjust my hand, push straight down on the plunger, and reposition that bushing right back into place over that plunger, locking everything right back where it belongs. What I like to do, of course, is slide it back and forth a few times just to make sure it cycles properly and the spring is in the right spot and there's no snags on that. Once we're done, again, we check to make sure it's unloaded. I'm going to push and pull on that trigger right there, bring that right back up home, and that's how we take apart a 1911 with a traditional plunger and short guide rod. Thanks for watching. Is it on right now? Mm-hmm. There you go. Get your foot there. That's a girl. It's a girl. It's a good girl. Aviva, do you know how to take apart a 1911? Yellow, welcome! So, I mean, I can say whatever. Hey, guys. This is weird. This is a dog. Pretty dog. She's quiet. She's an angel.